welcome to another explosive episode of the Start Thinking Forward Morning Motivational Show. I'm your host, Brandon L. Draper, and you can check me out on Instagram at The Real Motivational King. I'm excited that you decided to rise above the noise and tune into this positive vibration of intellectual content. I don't take it lightly, though, that you're here. And in order for us to continue to give you nonstop, impactful content, I need your help. So hit that like button and subscribe to whatever platform that you're listening to this podcast on. And most importantly, share this message of hope and inspiration. With that being said, let's get on with the show. All right, good morning. So we're going to dive right in. And today's show is a continuation of the 12 Start Thinking Forward tips to starting a business. Today, we're going to be starting with the number 10 thing, and that's finding a location, right? So this can be very important. And before we start really diving into location, one of the things I want to address early on is that location doesn't necessarily have to be a brick and mortar. So I want to go ahead and open up that dialogue. So you may be potentially getting ready to open up a business. It can be an app, which obviously there's not a store, a physical store, but it's a virtual store that you're able to put your app on, and individuals are able to go there and purchase that app off of there. Excuse me. So that's important, understanding that you may have a physical location, a retail location, or you may have a virtual location, or you may have a combination of the two, right? And this is how things are starting to develop when it comes to business. So first things first, we're going to talk about the style of operation, right? You got to make sure your location is consistent with your particular style and image, right? So if you're a higher end boutique, you would not want to have a store maybe in the flea market or a discount mall or something like that. So in Georgia, they have what we call discount malls, which are like covered flea markets, right? But I guess they're a step up higher than a flea market because it's obviously called the discount marts, all right? So at the same time, understanding that that's very important, because what your location is not just about finding location and that people can identify you. There's a lot more that goes with that. So let's go in. Second thing we're going to talk about is demographics, right? Start with considering who your customers are. How important is their proximity to your location? If you're a local coffee shop with a particular brand of coffee that has a particular taste that people love and enjoy, do you want to be more in walking distance? Or you're going to want to be in a very highly populated area in order to get traffic, right? If you already know you're going to, already have traffic just based on your brand, right? You want to choose a place that maybe has a lot more parking and is very easy it's accessible for people to do. So those are the things you got to take into account. The next thing is foot traffic, right? So if you need people to come by your store, right? Let's say you're marketing, but, can people walk by and generally see what's going on to make sure that the store is easy to find? What are some retail areas? What may be some potential dead spots in that area? So now, you may get a good location, at least you thought it was, but it has absolutely no foot traffic, right? Accessibility in parking, we talked a little bit about it already. But accessibility in parking, one of the worst things, you can have a crazy $1 billion business and be just swooped away off something as simple as a parking issue. If you have a type of business that and it requires a large volume of people to visit your location, right? And it's frequent and it's constant, right? You have to build a facility to be able to handle that, or that's going to be a bad customer service thing, right? Because there's no way for people to assess, to be able to assess your property. They're not adequate parking. They're getting frustrated. Now they don't want to explore your brand. So you can have all the foot traffic, but you don't have the accessibility, right? So is your building accessible? Don't give customers a reason to go somewhere else. And that's the most important thing about it. Next thing is competition, right? Competition. sometimes having competitors nearby is a good thing and sometimes it's not, right? What does competition mean for you? All right. Picking a location and then coming to find out there's another high-end boutique in your area, right? That has a loyal client base, and they're going to just snuff you out because you just decided to put your store on the wrong block. If you went a couple other blocks, maybe they would have supported you, but you just decided, so they feel like you was encroaching on their rights and their brand. So, there's countless stories of people just not doing their research, not really getting into it and understanding what's going on around them and where they're trying to select a location for their business, that they make these tiny little mistakes, but compounded over time, is detrimental to any new startup or any new business, right? Proximity to other businesses and services. Like, if there are other businesses and services around you, do they bring you value? Does it bring value to your business? Like, it's good for you to be there, just like it's good for them to be there, right? They're happy to see another neighbor that's, doing good, legitimate business. It brings credibility to all the people that's in this area, in this office space, that, we're the creme de la creme, like we're the top of the top. We're the cream of the crop. So what happens when that proximity of other businesses maybe not what you want? Maybe you want to be able to bring all the businesses to you, according to what your business model is, right? So you want people to be drawn to you. You see that maybe there's no continuity amongst business owners and entrepreneurs, and you want to create a hub for that. So now you're going to come into that space, right? Understanding what's around, what other businesses are there, and who can potentially be a support or who may potentially be a competitor. That's a part of going into business, is knowing when you need to work with others and knowing when a person is a competitor, and it may not behoove you to interrupt your enemy before they're about to make a mistake. So back to the next thing is image and history of the site. These are things that people don't take into account. What does the address say about the business? If you were to put your business at this particular location, have other businesses been there? So one of the most common things you'll see is that people may open up a nightclub, a sports lounge or whatever, and I guess the money doesn't add up. It's not profitable enough. Then it closes, and then it'll be 6-7 months again. So when it came there, when the previous owner had it, and said, "Oh man, this was a sick spot. Oh man, it's available." I don't have any experience on how to run a lounge or a club or anything, but I'm gonna start. And they go do the business. They do it for a couple of months. They don't make any money, and they're out. And this thing repeats over and over and over and over. So understanding that the image of the site is important, because if there's been 20 other businesses at the same site with a cycle of everyone wants to open up a club here, and within a couple of months it's closed, was that really the best site for you? Now, it may have all the space that you need. It may be just as fancy and nice, but now that spot has a reputation. What if someone got hurt on a facility and is known for people to get hurt, or there's faulty equipment or something on a property that people are known? There's some steps that people always, take a stumble and hurt themselves. These are things that people already have in their mind, pre-programmed about this spot, this address when they hear it. I don't care what business there is negative. These are things you have to take into account when trying to find a location for your business, right? Very, very, very important. The next thing is ordinances. Depending on what type of business you have, depends on if you can be at a certain location or you might have to be somewhere else. Now that could change, because you can find the perfect location without doing the proper research and knowing how things are zoned, right? And whatever your municipality says. Now, you may not be able to have that type of business in your perfect location that you went and discovered. That's why I always suggest to people, if you're looking for a location for your business, first things first, find out whatever area that you're trying to get into. Find out in that geographical area, what are the ordinances? Where are things on? What's considered to be commercial? Where are those properties at? and where, and then, what's residential, and knowing the difference, and know what you can put in whatever zone, whatever business you're running. Some business are farming, some commercial, there's different variances. So, and that's based upon your particular municipality. So at the end of the day, you're trying to figure that out. And now you can pick a location within the area that that it's been approved for, instead of picking an area that's real nice, but it's not zoned for whatever you do. It could be commercial, but a different type of commercial in which your business is not able to operate in. So these things are very important. So ordinances are very important. You have to know what rules and laws that they have in place. The next thing is building infrastructure, right? If you're looking for an older building, a newer building, you're leasing, you're purchasing, what is the ultimate goal and what's the infrastructure? If you're getting serious about a building, you might want to hire an engineer to check out the state of the place to determine if it even meets your needs. For instance, you think about it, if you get a building that's an older building and you're a tech company, and you can't, and let's just say it's a historic building, so there's certain things you cannot do to the building. Now you're a tech company, you got to run certain wires and different things. Now you may be restricted on what wirings that you can run due to infrastructure changes that would take place if you wanted to run the wires you needed to. And now that's not permitted, but you purchased now this property. So now your company has to run potentially inefficient because of a bad real estate choice, a bad location. So, and now, let's just say if you purchase the building, you're definitely stuck with it until you can sell it. And if you're leasing it, most commercial leases start at about 3 to 5 years. So now, for the next 3 years, you're tied into whatever location. So whatever adjustments you make to that lease property, that's on you, right? And you're limited to what you can do based on ordinances and the structure of the business, of the building, right? Rent, utilities, and other costs. So this is one of those things that I always get people is like, okay, I got it. I found the perfect location. I'm happy. I'm so excited about it. But this is what they miss. This is the key element that they miss about it. They don't find out how much utilities cost at the location, right? So you catch a commercial spot that's charging $2,500 a month, and you say, wow, now I'm able to start, this painting studio of mine, and now I'm able to do special things and have different audiences and have these paint and stroke sessions and really turn this into a business, right? And you're thinking that everything is going good, and you're going to set up this spot to do this. You open up, you pay your $2,500, but you have a couple of events there. Lights are staying on, AC is being ran. All these things are going on behind the scenes. You never once seen what the previous utility bills were, and you get a bill for $3,500 in utilities altogether. Gas, electricity, AC running, had all these events going on. And let's just say, this was the grand opening of your business and you weren't anticipating taking a hit. You thought you were going to make some profits, right? And you didn't, because, you did it for free. Now you're in the hole for all these events that you did, just trying to introduce people to your brand. But because now your utilities came in very, very, very high. And let's just say you took all your last bit of money for acquisition and actually building it out the way you need it. So all your money, you're depleted on money, right? These are why these things are important to know what's ahead of you in bills. Now you're looking at, this is unexpected. I would have never have gotten a building if I known I was going to pay $2,500 in utilities. Now, maybe that's too quick to say that, because at the end of the day, you might be willing to pay $2,500 in utilities if you cleared $50,000 that month, right? Or maybe if you cleared $50,000 that week, right? These are all possibilities, but understanding what you're dealing with, because it depends on what your situation is going into it, is going to determine your state of mind. If you're going in with a state of desperation, this is your last little bit of money, and you're trying to make that last hoorah, to champion your business up, to introduce people to your brand at a local organic level, and it fails. right? This most likely could be the end of your business because now you have an unexpected expense that you was not anticipating and is well over your budget, and you're probably most likely extended on all your credit cards and all this other stuff. So the likelihood of you really rebounding from that is not so good. And that's why we were talking about, yesterday with building a team. When you build a team, you're spreading out your liability and you're giving other people equitable, interest. Like they have a reason to be a part of it. If we all share rights in this, you have just as much interest to make this as successful as anything else, because now you stand to gain something from it if it makes something from it. And that's what a lot of people, their mindset is set that way, where if I put something, I need to get something up out of it, right? So real quick, before we go to a commercial break, I'm going to share a story with you about a wise man. People have been coming to the wise man complaining about the same problems every time. One day, he told them a joke and everyone roared in the laughter. After a couple of minutes, he told them the same joke and only a few of them smiled. When he told the same joke for the third time, no one laughed anymore. The wise man smiled and said, "You can't laugh at the same joke over and over, so why are you always crying about the same problem?" Moral of the story here is, worrying won't solve your problems. It'll just waste your time, energy, and resources. So think about that for a second. And when we come back from this commercial break, we're going to dive deep into the thinking time frame. And I think what we're going to do, we're going to talk about starting and getting some sales into your business. And then we're going to go ahead and wrap it up after that, because what we want to do is save number 12 for Friday. We want to say that for Friday morning to wake you guys up, because what 12 is about. 12 is about growing your business. And I think that's something that we need to just talk about by itself. So we're going to go to a real quick commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to be talking about the 12 start thinking forward tips and strategies of starting your business. We'll be right back. This podcast is brought to you from our sponsors. Hey guys, if you have not heard about Anchor, it's a free way to make a podcast anywhere and at any time. And guess what? It's free 99. There are all types of built-in creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so you can be heard on a multitude of platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. Now, I know what you may be thinking, but Brandon, why in the world would I create a podcast? Okay, so let me tell you. First of all, it starts with an M and it ends with a Y. It's called money. So why would you be asking me why you don't want to make money? Yes, I said it because you can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. So there you go. Stop thinking about it and just download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. I did, and so can you. All right, we're back. So I hope you enjoyed that commercial break. So we're going to go right back into it and dive in. I know I said we're going to start with number 11, start getting some sales. But before we do that, 4 key things I kind of want to make sure I drive home with you. We're going to touch it real quick, right? First thing is when it comes to securing that location, you got to think about the time frame. You know, landlords are starting to offer shorter term offers, rentals. Don't get stuck in a long-term lease if you don't have to. Play the whole field. There are all sorts of places, co-working spaces, office business centers, office incubators. These are places that may even potentially give you free office space. So, you know, and like they always say, click around town. Like there's so many different listings and things. So you want to know what is available to you that's going to be the most cost effective for where you're at in your business, going to meet the needs of your business. And last but not least, do the deals in your own terms. Again, you know, people are going to have their opinions, but don't get roped into something that you may not pan out. You don't, you know, especially if you have not really on the way strategizing, don't really know the forecast on how soon your business is going to become profitable. You know, that could be 6 months, that could be a year, it could be 2 years. You know, you may want to downsize as a result, and now you're tied into this lease. Now you're creating bad business credit, bad reputation. These are things we don't want, right? So think about those things. So with that being said, now we're going to dive right into start getting the sales, right? So there are so many different ways that getting sales can help your business, because, you know, in the early part of the week, we were talking about, you know, how to raise money and venture capitalists and all these other things. But, you know, these things come with a string, because, you know, it's one of the things that I never really got on board with, was like trying to get investors, because, you know, investors have bottom lines, and even if your company may be profitable, but it's not as profitable as they want to see, and it starts affecting their, you know, their margins, even though you may be able to take up a huge global marketplace, they're not willing to take the risk. So now you get investors that, you know, that has vested interest in your business, and they just say, hey, look, based on our position and where we have, we're going to sell. We want to sell, right? Now, guess what you're going to have to do? You're going to sell. That's it. They've made that decision because now they have the right to, because they have interest in your business. So when we start talking about getting sales in your business, this is one of the most important things. And I'm not, you know, we're definitely going to drive this home and really make sure you understand how the sales process, and I'm not going into the rhetoric of how to sell and best sales script, you know, not that stuff, but understanding that in order for your business to really do something, it really has to do something, right? We live in an age now where, you know, people think that, you know, creating revenue and running profitable businesses is just okay. If that happens, that's great. But really, the strategy for businesses where that people think that users or visits or time on site is the proxy to a successful business. If no one is purchasing, no one's buying, no one, you know, engaging, you know, well, what is engaging? Unless engaging is putting profits in your pocket, what are you doing there? And the key thing about it in business, you're trying to, what creates a successful business is a business that's making money, right? If it's not making money, it's a hobby. I mean, that's all, it's a hobby. It's not a business. Businesses are designed to make, just because a lot of people are following you on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and various social media outlets that there's so many I can't even name them all. You can have a profile, you can be doing it, you can have a whole lot of interaction. But if those interactions are not turning into paying clients, what are you doing but wasting a bunch of your time? So the biggest things in business, you have to figure out a way on how you're going to make the money. How are you going to make sales? It's very, very, very critical. Listen, when you listen to your clients and customers, you find out what it is that they want and need, and then you make that happen, right? Ask for commitment, but don't be pushy about it, right? Don't be afraid. I've seen so many people go through a whole sales presentation, and when it gets to the part where they got to ask the person to sign up, they'll flip past it real quick and show them something else, or start talking about their family, doing that stuff to try to be more relatable to the person, because now they're trying to avoid that one thing now. And it's just, hey, I need a check or a card, or, in some cases, some companies still do cash, but I need a check or I need cash. That question never comes up because we are scared, right? You got to ask for a commitment. You don't have to be pushing. There's some people that they let their confidence override them. I remember I was in an insurance company at one point in time, and I remember hearing the stories where people would knock on someone's door, and they knock on the door. Person would open, and they would tell them what they're there for about the insurance, and the person would attempt to close the door, and they will put their foot inside the door. I'm going to tell you, don't do that to everybody, because you might get a broke foot, with the right door. But some people are just in your face type, but that's pushy. I'm not interested in you put your foot in my door. I might be thinking you might be trying to, it's a home invasion. What you putting, what's the insurance man putting his foot in my garage, in my doorway for? I'm telling you, no, I'm not interested. And you got you're going to put your foot in my door to prevent me from closing my door, in which I pay for. You think about the what message you're saying by doing that, but that can also come off as being very pushy, and that can get the cops or get you killed doing things like that. But people do things for attention, to get someone's attention, and maybe potentially sell them. And maybe in some of those instances they made a sale, but more oftentimes than none they don't. So just taking the extreme just to take an extreme doesn't necessarily work, right? Don't be afraid of hearing no. That's one of the biggest things. Is you're trying to make a sale, someone tells you no, the quicker you can go through the no, the quicker you can get to the yes. Stop squirming about the idea that someone told you no, your world is coming to an end because they told you no. Go to the next person that's going to tell you no. Then go to the next person that's going to tell you no. Then go to the next person, and then they finally are going to tell you no as well. And then finally someone's going to tell you yes, right? But you're going to have to go through a lot more no's until you get to yeses. But guess what? It doesn't take that many yeses for your life to be drastically changed. So don't be afraid of hearing no, right? And, you got to, it goes back to that thing. You got to be willing to make mistakes along the way. There's nothing that's perfect. There's just so many tools and information out there if we can just focus. See, the thing about it is, when you're all over the place and you're not writing things down, some people are so scatterbrained. And that's a problem, that no one can help you be organized, because the organization that you want to provide for yourself is something that's going to benefit you. So if it's going to benefit you and make your life a lot easier and keep you from being frustrated, that is a comfort for you. So people that's like that, and somebody hear that in my voice, like, okay, he is definitely like that. You got to have things a certain way, because it makes you feel comfortable. So I need to be organized a certain way so I don't get stressed out that I'm looking for things that I've misplaced. No one can help you with that. You have to help yourself with that, because it's a priority to you. It's going to benefit you. It doesn't benefit anyone else. The only way it benefits someone else and they're trying to help you do it is because they're getting compensated for it. If they're not getting compensated for it, no one cares. So you got to do things that truly and ultimately make you happy. You got to be willing to step out and be willing to take and stand up next to uncertainty. I mean, that's the easy way I can say it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's going to be hard. It's going to be difficult, but you're going to have to make it a priority because sales is so important. There's so many ways, and we can set up a funnel. And I'm not getting into details. I mean, these are things that we could spend hours on talking about funnels, talking about Google AdWords, talking about Facebook advertisement, Instagram marketing, brand marketing. We could. I mean, this is our topics, so I can't sit here and dive into it. We're only really 30, 40 minutes, and 40 is kind of pushing it, trying to keep your attention. So I can't really get into it. I know people were, I got a couple of comments about that. Hey, I'm sorry, I can't take that much time in that, and like I said, I'm going to be creating some free courses. It's going to be diving a lot more deep into the video, talking about these things so you can get a better idea of it. And it's just me helping you have an understanding, because that was the most difficult thing coming into business, understanding these concepts that we were talking about. It absolutely made no sense to me. All right, so that's pretty much it. Tomorrow we're going to be picking up number 12 is grow your business. The whole show's going to be dedicated to just grow your business. You got to grow your business, and one of the hottest trends out there right now is social media marketing. And if you're not doing it, you're going to be left in the twilight zone, right? You're going to be left behind, definitely, because technology, social media is where everyone's attention is at. And if you have a business, you want to be where everyone's attention is at to advertise your products and services to eager people with credit cards in their hand, willing to purchase your products or services if they give value and if they can solve a problem that they need to be solved. You're able to do that. They're able to pay you for that, except once again, you got to throw your name in the hat in order to be selected. So that's today's show. Tomorrow we're going to pick it up, growing your business. Hey guys, until next time, I will talk to you later. And remember, it's never too late to start thinking forward. Hello all. Thank you for tuning in to another motivational show. I hope that you may have gained some insight from this show, but please, please, please don't forget to like and subscribe to this podcast to stay up to date with our daily dose of inspiration. And if you are a true risk taker and a fan of this show, please go to patreon.com/Creators United. That's Patreon, patreon.com/Creators United, right? And support our show and get some behind the scenes information on how you can empower yourself, your family, and your business to new heights. And if you want to connect, we are available 24/7. You can check us out online at www.pinnaclepointpublishing.com, and you can chat with us or send us an email, or you can send me a direct email at brandon@pinnaclepointpublishing.com, or even give us a call on the horn, as they say, at 1-866-222-3940. And until next time, I'll see you again.